Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the confusing world of corporate finance and leave you with the juicy bits. Today we're diving into NOVAVAX's latest financial report, and let me tell you, it's a story of big swings and evolving strategies. You won't want to miss this one. First off, let's talk numbers. NOVAVAX brought in a total revenue of about $239 million for the 3 months ending June 30th of this year. That's down from $415 million in the same period last year. Think of it like a lemonade stand that sold a lot of lemonade last summer, but not quite as much this summer. Digging into that, their product sales took a hit, dropping from around 22.6 million to just over 10.7 million. That's a big chunk, almost half. This seems to be driven by lower sales of their new NOVAVAX vaccine. On the flip side, their licensing, royalties, and other income also decreased significantly, from 392 million to 2028 million. This is mainly due to the Sanofi deal bringing in less cash this quarter compared to last year. So overall, that's why we see that big drop in total revenue, making last year look much stronger in comparison. Now let's look at expenses. For the same period, their total expenses also went down dramatically, from 254 million to 138 million. That's a good sign, showing they're managing costs better. Cost of sales almost went down by 2/3, from 46 million to just 15 million. This is likely because they sold fewer vaccines, so the cost to make them also went down. They also had fewer charges for things like excess or unused manufacturing capacity. Research and development costs also decreased quite a bit, from 107 million to 79 million. This is part of their strategy to cut costs and focus on key areas. And selling, general and administrative expenses, which are things like marketing and management costs, were cut almost in half, from 101 million to 43 million. This shows they are really tightening their belt. All these changes led to net income of $106 million for the 3 months, down from $162 million last year. So profits were lower, but they were still profitable. Interestingly, the number of shares outstanding went up quite a bit, from 48 million to 162 million basic shares. This means they likely sold more stock, which often happens when companies need cash out. Now let's look at the 6-month picture. For the first 6 months of the year, total revenue shot up to $905 million, a big jump from $509 million last year. This seems like good news at first glance, right? A huge part of this increase is their product sales, which jumped from 12 million to a massive 632 million. This huge boost comes from settling agreements with Canada and New Zealand, where they had to make refunds or recognized revenue from earlier payments. It's a bit of a one-time boost rather than a steady increase in sales. Licensing and royalties brought in 273 million, down from 397 million last year. The Sanofi deal is still bringing in money, but not as much as before. So despite lower licensing income, that big bump in product sales from the APA settlements helped their net income skyrocket to $625 million for the first half of the year, compared to just 14.8 million last year. That's a massive difference. Looking at the cash position, their cash equivalents and restricted cash dropped from 545 million at the start of the year to 268 million at the end of June. So while they're still profitable, their cash balance is decreasing. Their accounts receivable also went up significantly, from 108 million to 26 million. This means customers owe them more money, which is generally good, but it also ties up cash. Their deferred revenue, however, went down from 1.1 billion to about 513 million. This usually means they've recognized more revenue from past payments, which is good, but it also suggests fewer large upfront payments coming in for future performance. They also reduced their marketable securities from 392 million to 358 million, likely to fund operations or other investments. They still have convertible notes outstanding, totaling about $175 million. This is debt they might have to repay or convert into stock. Now for a bit on employee rewards, stock-based compensation costs were around 19.5 million for the first half of the year. This is how they reward their employees with company stock or options. Let's touch on legal matters. NOVAVAX had some shareholder lawsuits, but it looks like they've managed to settle some key ones. They secured a settlement for $6.8 million from some former executives, which actually resulted in a net gain for the company in March. This seems like a positive step in resolving past issues. When we look at the risks, one of the biggest concerns is their reliance on future payments from partnerships and agreements like the Sanofi deal. If they don't meet their obligations, those payments could be reduced or even cancelled, which would hurt their finances. They also mentioned potential refunds for upfront payments if they miss regulatory deadlines, which is a significant source of uncertainty. Another big risk they highlight is how future sales depend on getting good pricing and reimbursement from insurance companies and government programs like Medicare. This is a common challenge in the pharmaceutical world, and changes in government policy or insurance company decisions can really impact their revenue. They specifically mention shifts in COVID-19 vaccine coverage as the pandemic emergency status changes. On the strategy front, NOVAVAX is really focusing on its partnership with Sanofi, aiming to co-commercialize their COVID-19 vaccine and develop new combination vaccines. They've also made progress with their malaria vaccine using their matrix adjuvant, which is being used in many countries. They are also looking to partner out their other vaccine candidates like the COVID influenza combination and a standalone flu vaccine. A major win this quarter was the FDA approval of their NOVAVAX vaccine BLA, which triggered a $175 million milestone payment from Sanofi. That's a big deal and a testament to their progress. Looking ahead, they anticipate more milestones from Sanofi as they transfer marketing authorizations. When I look at these numbers, NOVAVAX appears to be in a period of transition. The massive revenue and net income jump in the 6-month period was largely due to one-time settlement payments rather than consistently strong sales of their COVID-19 vaccine. While they've managed to cut expenses significantly and remain profitable, their cash reserves are shrinking and they still rely heavily on future partnership payments. The Sanofi deal is crucial and any hiccups there could be very problematic. Their strategy to partner out later stage assets makes sense for managing resources, but it also means they have less control over their future earnings from those programs. The biggest takeaway for me is that while they had a profitable quarter, the underlying sales for their core product seem to be declining, and their future hinges on new partnerships and the success of their pipeline products. They have strong technology, but translating that into consistent commercial success is the ongoing challenge. Alright, that's our deep dive into NOVAVAX's latest financials. What do you think about their strategy and these numbers? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community, link in the description. Thanks for watching and we'll see you on the next episode of Corporate Decoder.